Greetings. Greetings and welcome to my very special Purple Portal. This is your host, the somewhat reluctant mystic, Elaine Bartlett, and I'm so delighted to spend this hour with you. I hope you've all survived the week. It was a very interesting few days in South Florida, and indeed our dear weather report supported a lot of change for people. That's what a hurricane's about. It's about the essence of change. It's about Mama, the big Mama, stirring you up. So we're going to be talking about that today. And I tell you, I've been kind of looking at my own title, The Reluctant Mystic. Actually, I'm kind of enjoying being who I am, which is a mystic. So I think I'm going to drop being so reluctant. Probably as you, I've been reluctant about many things most of my life. Most particularly about just being me. Living my own design. I think from the cradle, people are trying to change our design and coax us out of being me. And then our me gets kind of scrambled. But the real me is absolutely pure awareness. And that's the real you. We're going to talk about that today, too. But first, we got to look at some things here. Indeed, we're still under the sign of Libra, requesting that you embrace harmony and balance. If you do embrace it, good. If you can't embrace it, so be it. The only downside of not embracing it is that you're going to feel like your own feathers are being stroked the reverse way of the way that's comfortable for your feathers. And if you can think of, stroking something the wrong way, it kind of literally goes against the grain of things. So consider the idea of embracing harmony versus disharmony. But again, it's all kind of thought, and wherever you want to stand in it, that's okay. I do encourage you today to call in with your thoughts and questions. I actually posted that right before I left home to drive here on my Facebook. So call in today. We're going to be talking a lot about feng shui and how the storm actually was designed to stir up your feng shui, your inner feng shui, as well as your household. So the number is 321-806-3159. 321-806-3159. And if you're too shy to call in, you can easily reach me at my my email address, Purple Portal, P-U-R-P-L-E, Portal, P-O-R-T-A-L, and then 3 7s in a row. So Purple Portal 777 at gmail.com. I did give that address out last week. I must confess, because I am not exactly computer literate, I have no idea how to tap into that and see if anyone actually tried to get me. I will be checking with my absolutely marvelous computer genius up in New York State. I'm sure she'll have the answer to that. Speaking of computer geniuses, if you folks need anything creative done, a website, your business cards, I have the most really heavenly, ethical, honorable source for that. So don't be shy. Give me a call for that one too. So once again, to reach me here at the studio today, live on October 11th, 321-806-3159, or my Gmail that's connected to reach me very nicely, purpleportal777 at gmail.com. Yom Kippur is this evening. I believe it is the most solemn day in the Hebrew understandings and belief system, a day of really tuning in and atoning and kind of giving it all up. which I'm suspecting more and more is all we have to do about anything, is give it up. If you're going to feel a whole lot lighter by giving it up, so give it up. So to everyone who is honoring that special evening tonight and tomorrow, I am with you in thought and consciousness. All right, so I want to give you a little story that went through my mind. I can't tell you how many times over these past few days of sort of hurricane activity down in South Florida here and all along the coast. I received an email as I was coming in here today from a dear friend in North Carolina. Lots of people there have been affected and, have been without power and water and flooding conditions. But here's the little parable, and I actually shared this with several people over these few days, and it's one of my all-time favorites. So here's how it goes. There was a very, very devout and holy man walking on the pathway to some city in captivity. And as he was walking, he noticed a creature coming toward him, and he filled with dread because he recognized the being. And the being was called Death. So finally, Death caught up to him on the trail, and this humble good man shook in his boots and said, "Death, where are you going?" And Death said, "I'm going to the village right up around the bend." And this humble good man said, "Oh, how many souls will you be taking?" And Death said, "I am told I must take 500 souls." And of course, this holy man blessed himself and beat his chest and, "Oh, dreadful, this is so terrible. And, may the gods be with you on your assignment to take 500 people." And so Death went on its way. A few days later, down the same pathway, the humble holy man is still walking, and he sees Death approaching him, and Death is looking ashen and shaking his head with great chagrin and almost sorrow, if Death could actually feel sorrow. And the humble man said to him, "Well, what happened?" And Death said, 5,000 people left. And the holy man said, "But your assignment was only to take 500. What have you done?" And Death said, "I did take 500. Fear took the rest of them." And that's a wonderful story, and it's true. And I could see it with ones I loved and friends and neighbors around me. Fear took them. And not only that, the worst part of it was they forgot that nothing can live without energy. It just has to drop away. If you have a great idea for a business and you don't energize it, well, the business can't flourish. If you fall in love with someone and you don't energize it, the relationship's going to die. Well, the same with a storm. But what happens is it's almost in reverse. So the newscasters who make their living on fear, this is what sells news, they beat it into people down here ceaselessly. You couldn't go anywhere without your heart racing and terror being pumped into you. They fed the storm. And I must say, people fed it as well, because they took that fear, ran to the stores, nothing left on the shelves. Heaven forbid you actually needed a container of water. It wasn't there because fear had people stockpiling it. So the simple, ordinary things that make life run smoothly, they were in shortage thanks to fear. So what does someone like myself do in a case like a storm? I really do pretty much the opposite of what people do. I listen to the news so sparingly, that I can't even tell you, and mostly not at all. I was very, very thankful when everything went out because I thought, great, now I can't even get a sense of it's 3 more hours, it's 2 more hours. It's none of my business how long Mother Nature wants to wave her magic wand of change. So in this case, and this was a very different thing because in the old days, I tell you, I would be one who would say, okay, let's ask this storm to go out to sea. I absolutely did not do that. I absolutely sat there and loved it. In my mind, although it was a Matthew, a he, to me it felt more like a she, so it was probably closer that it had no sex. It was a shim. It was a both. It was everything. And I just sat there and I loved the essence of it. The pure presence of it is the pure presence of me. It's one and the same thing. So why would I push it away? Why would I not embrace more of me? I'm really done with duality. It's not serving me at all. It's still serving many of you, and I get that. But boy, some of us have walked that walk way too long. We're just tired of it. So in my embracing of it, I kind of saw the humor of it, the deliciousness of it, the what she was doing of it. Because, man, all the trees around me got a pruning that they've actually needed for a very long time. Some people needed to bond with others more carefully. I could see that happening. Some people needed to be quiet. I could see that happening. And some people still needed to run around like a chicken with their head cut off because they fed on the excitement of it and the danger of it. And it was very interesting to just really kind of witness everybody's choice in this happening. So I found it pretty cool. I do have 1 or 2 extra jugs of water in case anybody needs them. And that's about it. So it taught a lot of things. Now, on the feng shui side of it, it actually opened areas that I could look at from a point of view of what has changed. So first I always look within myself, what's changed within me. And indeed, that it was a big change for me to not try to change the storm, manipulate it, fix it, help it, heal it, save it. Done. Gone. And it's like I lost about 300 pounds. I didn't exactly have that much to lose, but I felt like, wow, that's a weight off my shoulders. And then actually, physically, okay, so it blew stuff on my patio. My patio is so sparkling, so happy right now, because as soon as I could open the doors correctly, without wind blowing through the entire apartment, oh man, I got right out there. The patio is not only sparkling clean, it's all rearranged, it's got a whole new consciousness, makes me happy just to think about it. And once you start changing one thing, oh man, yesterday I spent changing my entire bedroom, move this, do that, clean this, throw this out. One of the things, and I've said on the air before, I am a bookie. I got a library that doesn't quit. Well, because of this great storm, my consciousness is so shifted that I am getting rid of a truckload worth of old consciousness thinking that served me well for the past 30, 40 years. Done. And it's such a happy feeling, and it gives you energy. So please, sweep your porch, rake the leaves, do whatever you got to do. And ask the essence of the storm, which is one with your essence, what now? What kind of a creator do you and I want to become? Because it's gone on to create other things. Yep, it went on to create some havoc in some people's lives. It went on to take some people. That's what its assignment was. It did that. That was its job. Because their worldly mission in the body was over. But they haven't died. I mean, that's such a myth, this dying thing. it's driving me crazy these days because you don't die. And of course, that goes against every belief system. What do you mean we don't die? There's all sorts of rituals, and there's grieving, and there's gnashing of the teeth, and there's swooning over the gravesite. I know. Aren't you tired of that? Because when you really think of it, if you are in the core of you, essence, how could you possibly die? Which, of course, kind of leads to the flip side of that. You never were born either. And it's so delightful because you had no beginning and you have no end. And I kind of think that's what essence is, and that's what divineness is, and so you're it. So I'm happy it's kind of like we're playing tag as kids. You're it. And I want to say, no, I'm it. No, you're it. Well, okay, we're both it. So please remember for the future, nothing can live without energy. How are you feeding it? And another thing that came very crystal clear to me during this little hiatus of things being shaken up was I no longer will take delivery of problems and conflicts. I simply won't take delivery of them. Not yours, not mine, not his, not hers. And again, if you want to really live with ease and grace and light, simply don't take delivery of conflicts. And these can be either psychological, emotional, or, somebody handing you a conflict, a problem. I simply did not take delivery of Matthew. I refused the package. And it's a different way of looking at things. But if this doesn't feel good to you, tune the radio station to hard rock or something that will be more up your alley. But the interesting thing is, once you no longer take ownership of any problem or conflict, I got news for you. The payoff is astounding. The payoff is, of course, number one, obviously, you lift above the problem and you soar like an eagle. If you can just picture an eagle soaring above the world, it's looking down with a great bird's eye view. It sees everything. It sees that murder. It sees that debate. It sees that tension. It sees that birth. It sees that death. It just keeps soaring. And where it's soaring to is brand new possibilities. And I was doing a consultation this morning with a very wonderful man up in New York State. The fellow's a doctor, and he listened so intently to my suggesting to him. Now, mind you, he's got every degree in the world. And this humble being is saying, so what do you want to do next when you grow up? And he laughed, and he got it. And he's like, fantastic question. I don't know. I said, maybe you can give up thinking you have to heal people because there's nothing to heal because the essence of them is already perfect. Maybe your workload becomes different. Maybe you can sail around the world with your wife. What do you want? A new possibility. And the bottom line was, I said to him, perhaps it's time you consider getting a larger canvas. And he could so relate to that. He goes, oh my God, I've been painting on this tiny little canvas. I said, yeah, go get some new oils and new turpentine and have at it. So that's what this storm can do. Any storm, if you can, use it to your advantage and not go down that darn fear pathway. Indeed, you could have been one of the 500 that fear the death came to take because it was your time. Didn't mean it was because of the storm. That was your time and that was your way out. But you didn't have to be one of the 4,500 that fear took and then cripples one way or another You feel you can't breathe right. You feel you can't think straight. And it does take you down. A couple of weeks ago, I lived through an incident, well, it was a storm. It was an emotional storm that happened between myself and someone that I really love. And I don't even like to make that distinction because the truth is, I'm simply a lover that shows up, so I really love pretty much everybody. I get it. There's foibles and there's issues and there's reasons not to love someone for a certain behavior. But then again, you look and you go, well, there's a little nucleus that maybe there's a little deeper feeling toward. And that emotional storm, I took it to heart, which really for 2 or 3 days, I was not myself. I was more myself through a hurricane than I was through that particular emotional storm. So look at your emotional storms. Look at the storm you just went through. And be excited about it. What did it clean out? And that brings me to the feng shui portion of this program today. Feng shui is so tied in with you cleaning out. I can't reiterate that enough. Clean out your car. Start there. Clean out if you've got a garage. You know, when I lived in Jersey, we had garages, we had basements, we had attics. And of course, all those many places became warehouses for stuff. And the stuff generally was stuff you didn't know what to do with any longer, but you couldn't quite part with it. And it was stuff that had an old frequency. It was stuff that really didn't work. I know my nature is very comfortable with change. I know that the other half of the tribe on the planet is not so comfortable with it. So start small. Fluff up a pillow. Get rid of a pillow. You know, you can start small. Anything that's overcrowded, there's way too much in there, whether it's a drawer, a closet. So please allow, we think that we got this storm on the East Coast of the United States. And yes, that is where it manifested itself. But energy never dies. So that same energy is still circulating and circling the entire globe. So someone in Patagonia is also feeling the slight effect of a shift. Yes, it's far less intensity, but they still have an opportunity to soar with it and to use the information to their advantage. So, indeed, I cleaned my patios. It's time for me to give the phone numbers because somebody should call in with what do they need to clean and clear. 321-806-3159. 321-806-3159. Come on, kids, put your feng shui thinking cap on, and you got to have some questions about this. So, yes, I cleaned my patios. Not only did I clean them, because this stuff makes me feel good. Many of you, I guess, are kind of stuck in a sloppy environment. That's how you want it. That doesn't ever make me happy. So I cleaned it, and yes, I rearranged furniture because I thought I no longer want to sit looking that direction. I want to sit looking another direction. And go sit down, and once you've changed the chair, sit in it for a minute and feel it out. How does this make you feel? So, yeah, the patio furniture got changed. You should all come take a look. It is really neat. Next thing yesterday was the bedroom, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I've only been in this particular apartment for maybe 14 months, maybe 15, something like that. This is my third massive shift in the bedroom. Simply because I wake up and think, I don't want my head on that wall anymore. It just doesn't feel right. So now I'm very, very happy on a northeast wall. And I'm looking for the changes. I'm looking for what is that frequency going to do to me? And northeast has to do with, on the very base note, has to do with learning and education. And I'm fully expecting to keep learning more and educate more. So that's going to be enhanced. But then it moves toward a pure stream of information consciousness. And information consciousness is knowing that I am that. I am that pure stream of consciousness. So I'm like excited out of my tree to just go on this northeast wall. And the final thing it brings is I am that known as wisdom. So if any of you have any opportunity at this time, during a month known as Dog Month, which I talked about last week, Dog Month is the third month of the metal cycle. So it's change time, big time. So I was already aware that Dog Month, which started October 7th and will end November 8th, I was already aware intellectually, yep, that was spinning. And really, I hadn't gotten the memo that I could really change the bedroom because this was no small feat. Because I'm a bookie, I have a massive bookcase in there. Whole thing got changed. Single-handedly, no sweat. Just do it. So when you make up your mind that you need to move in harmony with a shift, everything is easy. But it wasn't until the storm, and I think it's because the storm made my patio unpleasant to me, that it triggered a movement in me. Go look at the rest. And quite frankly, not only did I change that bedroom, it's true what they say. You change one thing and everything has to change. All sorts of tchotchkes came down yesterday. Nah, that's not working right now. There's a whole new autumn theme cooking because I entertain a lot and I feel good when I'm honoring the cycle. So people who come tomorrow night for a little gathering, well, they're going to be treated to pumpkins and orange leaves and happy stuff all over the place. If it makes me happy, I guarantee it's going to give them a lift. Why is that important to share the lift energy? Well, I like to think that it's enough love that it will lift them back into their natural consciousness of happiness. And they'll go home and they'll want to make their life a little happier. And I don't know, change the bed, change the bedding, change the sheets, put a new candle out. Take what is done down. It doesn't mean I threw away things. I have lovely things. They're going to be waiting in their proper waiting space for a happier time to bring them out again. Right now, I don't want the pastels. It's a richer, stronger cycle, even though we live in South Florida, where sort of pastels are good to go almost any time. I'm not into aqua right now. Take it away. Ugh. So it's kind of like when you have a storm, it's kind of shaking you up enough to go, who am I right now? And that's the fun of it. What else did I change yesterday? I was having such a great time changing, and it went on for today too. It's really been nonstop. Changing my mind. Well, I think it's better said that I'm now actually understanding my mind. I'm understanding that it's simply a tool, and I am the master of it. It is not the master of me. See, that's what happens. That's what becomes glaringly obvious in a storm situation. Minds ran amok. Minds became frightened. Minds went into overthink. And so that was definitely the time to become mindless and go into what is called presence awareness. Awareness of just that simple presence within, which is what doesn't die. That's that part. Goes back there again. That's what I want to, that's what I actually can't feed it because it's already perfect. I just want to remember it. I just want to hang in there with it so that I remember it at all times. And that's the ideal thing for you as well. So please, this particular week, because I get to talk to you again next week, look at your northeast, get your compass out, and see what the heck is happening in the northeast sector of your home. Is it cluttered? I had a friend call me yesterday. I love this guy. He too is yet another doctor. It's amazing how many healers are drawn to more mystical things, because a true healer really does know that there's nothing to heal in the first place, and they kind of approach it like that. A pseudo-healer still believes that, that they're going to heal something. They really don't. It's not theirs to heal. They can make you more comfortable, but it's impossible. And so the humility of a real healer would reach out to someone like myself. And so this fellow called in yesterday. We had actually studied feng shui together years ago. That's how cool this guy was. Here he was, a doctor, and he's sitting next to me across the state studying feng shui. And I'm like, this is so cool. You mean you would actually tell your patients that their clutter could be making them sick? And he goes, oh, you bet. Mm-hmm. So his question yesterday, and he could be a little bit of a clutter bug himself, but he said, so in my office, what's happening to the West energy because my West is cluttered? Well, I know him well enough, and I have actually addressed the feng shui of his office. It's kind of like every piece of your body is important. But, for example, if you're right-handed, you use the left hand less. So it's the less dominant hand. And it's the same with your living space. There are some spaces based on your personal energy that are less dominant. And so in his case, based on the office itself and his own personal feng shui, the West is the ideal spot for his storage area. Now, if I look at myself in comparison, the West is one of my strong zones. So I would never, ever clutter up the West because I would be a mess. My luck would actually run out. That's how intense that could be. And when your luck runs out, if you're in the wrong space or you've done something to the space that's harmful and out of harmony to the space, your luck doesn't run out day one, the minute you move in, but it does run out in about a 2-year cycle, which is why often a person, if I question them, well, how long have you lived here? And they go 2 years, and I can then see perhaps why illness set in, why there was a divorce, why there was a disaster. So it's interesting to see what is good for one person is not necessarily good for yourself. So but everyone can benefit at this moment by making sure that the Northeast, if you want to be more aligned with the awareness within, then check out your Northeast area. Check out your bookshelf. Are there materials that you've outgrown? Move them on. There's people coming up behind you who can benefit from that information. So don't be afraid to let things go. Remember, when your arms are full, you cannot fly. So, and again, see, I'm becoming more sensitized to, and if you don't choose to fly right now, that's perfectly okay. In the old days, I would be going, oh, come on, you want to fly? Come on, it's really neat up here. No, it's really neat right where you are. If it's really neat for you. When it's no longer neat, well, then consider other alternatives to your happiness. So let me tell you about a little bit about Osho. I better stick to feng shui. I promised some people I'd be sticking on feng shui today. So here you're learning now the value of clear the clutter and the importance of detoxing your clutter of your mind as well as the clutter of your house. And the value of doing both, and they're almost simultaneous. If you do one, you do the other. So let's begin to take a look at the center of your house. Because the center is kind of, I wonder how I get that. So I see Linda is calling in, and I have no idea how to get that. How do I do that, Jeff? Jeff, I have no idea how to reach...
You are on the air with Linda
I am.
now.
It's happened magically. I love Jeff. He's so magical. Hi, my Linda.
Hi, Elaine. This is Linda in Arizona.
Hi, Linda in Arizona. I am so happy to hear your voice.
I am happy to hear your voice. Now, I may have been too late on getting this, but my bedroom's in the Northeast.
Fantastic. Alrighty then. Even though knowing your space and knowing you and your honey, generally Northeast is a lesser zone for both of you.
Correct.
However, this storm and this cycle has stirred up Northeast energy, which can particularly be based on the work that you're doing. It can align you very much more easily with, Linda, something that's actually called presence awareness. A deeper insight into the presence that you are. And is your headboard on the Northeast?
No, it is on the west.
Okay. Those need a little metal this year. Have you got your metal cooking?
I can add it.
Okay. I would tell you somewhere in there you need a clock, not a digital, a real clock. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because that's going to steady that energy. But even as it's steadied, because things have been so stirred up, and it's interesting, I know enough of your background, many, many areas of your life have been stirred up this year. And
yes, they have.
Therefore, the stirring only affords you, should you open to it, the opportunity of soaring higher. So it's not a bad thing, although, at times things could look sorrowful, but it's a clearing out to have greater access to the awareness of presence. You can't get more presence, if you will, because it's like saying, could you get more God? You can't, because it's the core of you. And that core line, there's a tool that, because I know you could use very easily, and I think it'll have greater and greater meaning, and it's the awareness card in Osho's material.
Okay.
I think it's number 7.
Of course.
Of course it is. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how the greater awareness, what effect it has on you, and knowing how artistic you are, I would not be surprised if it doesn't take that innate artistry and almost put it in a cone-like, tornado-like thing to make it, stir it and bring it up, almost, truly, in your case, get a bigger canvas.
Okay.
I mean, it's more colorful. I don't know which way the expression of joy will come through you, but it's now. And I know you're in a dying cycle, and I know you're a good contemplator.
Okay, you're going to scare people with the dying cycle if they don't know about it.
Oh, dying cycle. A dying cycle is the 52-day window before everyone's birthday. And everyone's got it, and you got it every single year, whether you like it or not. And
Shed the old skin.
It's shedding the old skin like the snake sheds its skin. So yes, you're a little more vulnerable. Yes, you're a little more fragile, but it's a really precious, precious cycle. of transformation. It'd be kinder if I said your transformation cycle, and I'm glad you brought that up because I'm so wanting people to give them a little jab so that come on, and of course the word dying is an attention grabber, but it's a letting go of the old, and it's a fantastic time to do that.
And as you said earlier, we have to stop being so afraid of the dying.
Yes, because it's natural to us, and the truth is, you died to the last minute. It's already gone. You're dead from yesterday. And so it's just living in that awareness of this is the moment. I am now here versus NOWHERE. Same set of letters. I am now NOWHERE versus NOWHERE.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'd rather be here now, because if I'm thinking about yesterday and what's going to happen tomorrow, I'm nowhere. I'm just absolutely nowhere. Except frightened.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Northeast, since it's where my bedroom is, would I bring in like some art books to look at before I go to sleep, or some deeper healing kind of books, just so they're there?
You could. You absolutely could, because by osmosis, you're actually sucking in the energy. What could you bring in? Somehow a lot of Osho's work really will resonate with you at this time again. Mm-hmm. You might just pick a card before you fall asleep.
Okay.
And let it do its thing. And we both know some of his cards can kind of be like, oh my gosh, Matter of fact, I have Osho's cards with me today, and of course I just opened them, and what do I pick? Letting go.
That one, huh?
Yeah, just letting go. And it's such a beautiful, it just be that drop that falls off the edge of the flower, and trust that you're safe when you let go.
What a nice way to go to sleep.
It's a lovely way. As long as you pick one like letting go. Because some of them really have a little bit of a charge to them if you haven't worked with them a long time and don't have a comfort level with his attempt to bring each of us into just that state of awareness and putting your attention where you want the energy to flow.
Okay.
So you're going to put your attention to the northeast quadrant of your home is a healing center for enlarging your oneness with wisdom. And that's all you're going to see it as. And wisdom, even biblically, although so much of that darn Bible's been changed to be totally false now, but biblically, that is the greatest pearl. So it's really cool. So clean out under your bed. That's another big thing. Clean.
Never anything under there.
Good. That's an interesting point, because those of you who are storing a lot of things under your bed, it's very challenging for your energy field to be restored correctly at nighttime. So keep your bed happy, and don't take your quarrels into the bedroom. I mean, that's really low. Number one, don't quarrel to begin with. But if you have to, step outside. At least the air goes away. So Linda has studied with me for many years, and Linda has worked in one of my wonderful Purple Pear boutiques up in New Jersey with me, and Linda has been just a right arm to me so often. So I certainly know both her energy and her husband's very well, and know that, when I see someone who's so diligently just trying to take the next step in pure awareness, It's a magical thing. And, Linda knows I slip and slide, she slips and slide, and we'll cry about it, we'll laugh about it, and start again, but much more quickly. In the old days, God, I could have stayed slipped and slidden for weeks and months at a time. And I'm sure you too could have, Linda. I mean, we could really get down on that stuff.
Yes, we could. It was a happy, safe place to be.
Yeah.
Now we just get out of it.
Yeah, get out of it because it's lighter, it's brighter, it's happier.
Yeah, get in and out.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Thank you so much, Elaine.
You're very brave to call, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
You did good. Now we got to get Susan to call in.
That's right. Next.
Next? Okay.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. And I do know how Linda lives, and I can tell you everything you could eat off the floor. And it's so important that your master bedroom is worthy of a master. And that would be you. So if you've got the ironing board up there at all times, if you've got your workout equipment there, if you've got your office there, if you've got your television there. I was thinking as I was cleaning my room yesterday, I was thinking to myself, I wonder how many people have, at this point, a television in their bedroom. And, I kind of quickly turned away from that thought, thinking I don't really want to know that answer. Because the energy from that television is actually distorting your energy field. I mean, you'd have to unplug the darn thing and drape it in black for it to be not harming you. That's how forceful that is. So you're never, ever escaping into a pure restorative energy field. So many people tell me they fall asleep with it on. Oh, that one's a real hair raiser for me, because generally it's at the foot of their bed. And I want you to picture laying in your bed with your little feetsies up straight, kind of looking at the TV as you are, and energy comes through the soles of your feet and the palms of your hand and your eyes as the quickest sources of mainlining energy into you. So you're really getting harmed when that TV is coming up through your feet. And then you've got other things on. Some people sit in their bed with their laptops, and they wonder why they now have digestive issues, stomach issues, intestinal issues, and every other kind of issue. Your bed is there for you to rest and recover in. Recover from the assault of the day. So there's a whole lot about that bed that's very important, which is why, honestly, if somebody's died in there, you're going to have to think twice about the mattress. If you have quarreled, if you've been good and sick in that bed, it really needs to be properly space cleared, minimum. And by space clearing, you either need some sage, be careful with sage that you don't set your house on fire, or what's called the tingsha bells. Those are Tibetan bells, which ring out energy, or singing bowls, or a meditative CD that clears the air. There's many nice CDs actually now that clear the air. Even the sound of Om clears the air. So think in terms of restoring your bedroom to its good health so that it can restore your health. I love your bedroom. It's a magical kingdom for you. And it really should be used for two things. Number one, to restore your health. Number two, it's a space of love, which is why I really hate a quarrel in there. Again, if your bedding is crummy, at least clean it. At least wash it. And look at under your bed. Look around your room in your mind's eye. If you're not home or if you're not in that room, look around. Have the kids. Kids don't belong in every room in your house. Kids belong in their room or the playroom or outside playing. What a concept. So please, this week, make some changes in the master bedroom. Let that bedroom give you a hug. Let that bedroom love you. I'm doing my work on loving you. Now you have to love you. I look forward to loving you again next week. Bye.